Hello and welcome to another episode of Fan-Made Games, and today we'll be taking a look at some fantastic Donkey Kong fan games. To be truthful, I was looking for Mario fan games when I started getting sidetracked after finding a few cool DK games. So let's take a gander at some of the games I couldn't get my hands on first, but at least from the videos I found, really looked cool. First we have Donkey Kong Country Kremlin Chaos, which truthfully didn't look too fantastic, but I thought I would add it to this list. It seems like the DK sprite was taken from Smash Bros and has its moves as well. All the other characters seem to be 2D sprites that just kind of float around. It's obviously nothing mind-blowing and seems more like some school project. From what I've read though, this was one of the first games this guy's put together, so I guess I'll give him props for that. Next we have Donkey Kong Country in 3D. The whole island has been recreated in the Unreal Engine in 3D graphics and looks fantastic. It's even explorable on foot, and the creator is working on recreating all of the levels to be fully explorable in 3D. Not sure how exactly Diddy's Conquest would work as a 3D game, but who knows, maybe it would be really cool. So far from what I can see in the videos, the creator has done a really good job taking the images the game gives and converting them into an actual 3D object. Obviously, everything isn't to scale with the real game, just due to the fact it wouldn't work at all, but they did a really good job at getting it as close as possible, and I would love to walk around and explore the world of Donkey Kong Country 2 in 3D. Next, we have another 3D version of Donkey Kong Country 2, except this one isn't as good. Actually, it's far from good. I really couldn't play it, and most of what you are seeing is footage from other people since the first time I played it, the camera messed up and I couldn't get past an area due to that fact, and the second time the game spawned me inside of a wall that I couldn't get out of, so you know, that's fun. Truthfully though, it's not a bad idea, and it really reminds me of the 3D Mega Man game I talked about in my fan-made Mega Man games video. So, you know, if it was done a bit differently, it could have been a really awesome idea. Sadly though, they went for this third-person over-the-shoulder perspective that just doesn't make for a good platformer. So I guess we won't be getting a good 3D Donkey Kong Country for a while now. Next we have our first of two Donkey Kong Country 4 games. This one being titled the DK Bay, that uses its own little 2D sprites that look really cute. The whole art style in general of the game is actually just pretty pleasing, and out of all the games I played, this was probably the one I had the most fun with, though I wouldn't call it the most impressive one of the bunch, that's for sure. If you want a fun mini version of Donkey Kong Country, this would definitely be a good pickup for you. The next Donkey Kong Country 4 game we have is titled The Kong's Return. It uses the same engine as the original 3 Donkey Kong Country games and really feels like it. It actually just straight up feels like a sequel to the original 3 games in its own way that actually lets you play as all 4 characters from all of the games and use all of their abilities in different combinations than you would have ever experienced. And that in itself makes for a very interesting game. The level design is really well put together and every level has its own interesting themes, with hidden DK coins, Kong coins, and awesome level-ending guitar songs. Overall, this is a Donkey Kong fan game that you can't afford to skip over, and that's a Badman guarantee. The last game is a tribute to Donkey Kong Country. That's the actual name for it. And a well-fitting name for the game, seeing as it's an HD sequel to Donkey Kong Country made in the Unreal Engine. It reminds me a lot of Donkey Kong Country Returns. In a bad way though. I feel like this game would have had an amazing feel to it and blew my mind if Donkey Kong Country Returns didn't exist. It really makes this fan game underplayed. Like, if this was around and Donkey Kong Returns didn't exist, I would be like, oh my god, this is the Donkey Kong Country sequel everyone needs. Now I'm just kinda like, this is an okay HD Donkey Kong game. Don't get me wrong, it's an amazing game, but its charm has been downed a bit due to the new releases. I also feel like the game would have had a better hype if it was an actual one-to-one remake of Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, or 3 that would bring the nostalgic love out. All things said, I really did enjoy this game for what it was, and if you want to try it yourself or any of the other games I talked about today, check the description for links to all of the downloads and YouTube channels for the first 2 videos I talked about. I hope you enjoyed this week's video and the games I talked about, and I'll see you all in the next video. I just want to give a huge shout out to my top Patreon supporters of the month. So thank you Zero Master, Thomas Bethel, Grizzly Gamer, and Legend Gary. Without your guys' support, I would not continue to make such fantastic videos. So thank you all, and if you wish to become a Patreon yourself, check the description below for more details.